The Columbia community continuing to remember the life of Master Police Officer Tyrell Owens-Riley after he passed away yesterday following a physical training exercise. Good evening and thank you for joining us for News 19. I'm Kaylin Hagwood. This is a look outside Columbia Police Headquarters today as officers and community members continue to remember Master Police Officer Owens-Riley. Flags also flying at half staff at this hour in his memory. This as friends continue to remember his life and legacy. Our Zoe Henry spoke to one of his loved ones about the legacy that he leaves behind.
So every time I met him, he was like, "Man, you put your application in yet? I believe in you, you can do it."
Officer Terrell Owens-Riley, or to Braylon Salmon, his friend in the law.
Called him T.O. because Terrell Owens, like the football player.
Officer Owens-Riley died of a heart attack after a Columbia Police Department training. Braylon says he got the call Saturday afternoon.
So like they called me and told me what happened, and I was just surprised, like, man, you're not telling the truth. I do not believe it.
The Columbia Police Department parked Riley's patrol car in Justice Square, draped in flowers and black cloth. Law enforcement agencies around the Midlands sent condolences to CPD. While out there, one of Owens-Riley's co-officers placed flowers on the windshield. Too emotional to speak on camera, but says this is a huge loss, says Braylon agrees. He says the shoes left behind are impossible to fill.
Great legacy here at CPD. He's one of the officers that'll never be forgotten. It's 2022 now. In 3022, people still gonna know who Terrell Owens-Riley was here at the city of Columbia.
An officer to remember. In Columbia, Zoe Henry, News 19, WLTX.
Well, his family is still working to make those funeral arrangements. We will, of course, share that information with you as soon as it is available. Turning to Sumter now, where one man is dead and an officer in serious condition after a shooting in the county earlier today. It happened around 8 this morning at a home on Canes Mill Road. Officers say the first deputy arrived at a home to find the garage area on fire. That's when deputies say the suspect, Leroy Quick Jr., appeared and started shooting. The deputy fired back. Both were hospitalized with the suspect dying. At this hour, we're told the officer is still working to recover. SLED has since been called in to investigate and is also reviewing that alleged arson. One resident who lives nearby says he has children and something hitting this close to home has actually been quite frightening for him.
At first, I didn't know anything about it. I was concerned at first just from the scenery. But finding out that it happened so close to home kind of makes you a little bit more worried as far as, you know, the old days. You can't just let your kids roam out and play anymore.
Another story will continue to follow and, of course, bring you the latest updates on air and online as they become available. All right, guys, we have been tracking the tropics. President Biden and Florida's governor declaring a state of emergency as Tropical Storm Ian is expected to hit Florida within the week. Now, the storm gaining strength as it moves forward to Florida, expecting to become a major hurricane by the time it makes landfall. Meanwhile, Florida residents are stocking up on essentials like water and generators, filling sandbags and waiting in long lines for gas to prepare. Forecasters predict Ian to be a Category 4 hurricane by the time it hits the coast. Want to bring in our Daniel Bonds on this. It's something that our weather team has been following closely. And Daniel, is this going to be a concern for us here in the Midlands?
It looks like it is going to be at least something we'll have to watch. Right now, it's hard to say exactly what we'll get from Ian, but pretty confident we are going to get some heavy downpours. It looks like late Thursday, Friday, and possibly into early Saturday. This is the latest from the National Hurricane Center. The 11 o'clock advisory does have winds of 65 miles per hour with gusts up to 75. It is getting a little bit better organized, and you can see that forecast track pushing it towards Florida, it looks like, towards the end of the work week. We've had some sunshine and clouds throughout the day. There's been a few showers in the upstate and in the parts of North Carolina. Some of those may sneak into at least portions of the Midlands, so we'll make a mention of a stray shower. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, 88 degrees with lots of sunshine. And then tomorrow night, a little cooler with lows dropping down into the middle 50s. We'll break down what we're expecting from Ian much further coming up in just a few minutes. Kaylin?
Thank you so much, Daniel. One person is dead, another injured after a crash in Orangeburg County. It happened just after 5 yesterday afternoon. State troopers say a car was driving north on Highway 601 when it crossed the center line and hit a tree. The driver of the car died while the passenger was taken to the hospital. It's unclear what that person's condition is at this hour. Neither of the victims have been identified, and the State Highway Patrol is still investigating. In Chester County, the Sheriff's Department investigating a skydiving accident that left one person dead. Deputies say it happened just before 1:30 yesterday. They arrived to the Chester-Catawba Regional Airport to find a skydiver had passed away. That victim, again, not identified there. The Federal Aviation Administration is assisting with the investigation. An Elgin man who spent 25 years raising money for child cancer patients through his holiday light show has passed away. 66-year-old Paul Towns Sr. died yesterday morning after spending nearly 3 decades lighting up the lives of others. Towns opened his home each Christmas to raise money for children at Camp Chemo, a summer camp for children who have cancer through Prisma Health. Funeral arrangements have been set for the start of November. Instead of flowers, Towns' family is asking that donations be made to Camp Chemo in his memory. Let's turn to some COVID news now. As the fall season starts, health experts say we could see a surge in cases along with the flu at the same time, a concern for folks to be aware of. The CDC says this year's flu season could be particularly concerning for young kids who may be more vulnerable to the illness. Well, the CDC estimates flu cases will cause up to 700,000 or more hospitalizations each year. For those looking to get vaccinated against the flu or get an updated COVID booster, DHEC has information on where to get those vaccines on its website. COVID levels around the state continuing to improve. Right now, there are no counties in the state with high COVID levels. And according to the CDC, only 6 counties are at medium, including Richland, Lexington, Newberry, and Fairfield. Well, at medium levels, mask recommendations, those are eased. People are asked to wear a mask on public transportation, and if they have symptoms, if you test positive or are exposed to someone with the virus. The remainder of the state has a low community level. Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, began this evening. It is a time for those of the Jewish faith to express gratitude and reaffirm their commitment to making the world better. Rabbi Hesh Epstein of Chabad Aleph House spoke to us ahead of the holiday as they get prepared. He says families around the world often celebrate by gathering at synagogue and sounding the shofar, an ancient tradition honoring God. They also host dinner, including dipping sweet apples in honey for the new year.
This is an opportunity for us to reset. It's a chance for us to seriously consider where we have succeeded and failed in the past year, take stock, and try to really get ourselves on the right path for the coming year. So it's joyous, but it's serious.
Well, Rabbi Epstein says the holiday is 48 hours. It began at sundown today and will end Tuesday night. The South Carolina State Marching Band performed in Indianapolis today for the game against the Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the second time the band has performed on a national stage in the last year. 2 SC State graduates were involved in the game, putting a former Bulldog on both ends of the field. Colts linebacker Darius Leonard played for SC State and was named MEAC Defensive Player of the Year. The Executive Vice President of Communications for the Kansas City Chiefs is also a Bulldog. Now, he worked for SC State's Sports Information Department as a student. Earlier this week, the band performed for Vice President Kamala Harris, and previously, they performed at the inauguration of President Joe Biden. Well, something else making NFL headlines today. We now know the star who will take center stage during February's Super Bowl halftime show. Rihanna announced today on Instagram that she'd be headlining the halftime show. There is no caption but the post, and there is no caption needed. She's there. She's holding a football with a period. So yeah, she is sending a message there. Now, it's not the first time the singer has been approached about performing in the Super Bowl. Rihanna turned down the same offer back in 2019 out of support for San Francisco quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who had a 2016 national anthem protest that sparked debate throughout the NFL. The Cola Jazz Festival just ended, closing out the weekend on a good note, musically and figuratively. See there, yeah. The annual event features a range of local jazz artists performing blues, swing, rock, and even bluegrass music. The executive director of Cola Jazz says the variety of music, artists, and even local foods is what draws the community to the festival.
And traditionally, we do it indoors. And this is our first year of trying to bring it outdoors, do more of an outdoor, bigger community event. And we partnered up with Historic Columbia. We're here at Hampton Preston. Beautiful grounds, and it's working out fantastic.
Beautiful grounds and a beautiful day. 6 different artists performed at this year's fest. And yeah, very nice weather. Will it continue? We've got a closer look at your forecast as well. We are tracking Ian right now. Could become a hurricane soon. The latest on the track next on News 19.